Hi there. I've gotten so many requests over the years from people who want to see techniques in action. And while I have many places that you can do that, I have my How to Heal Yourself online course, I have YouTube, I have my monthly classes. Sometimes people just want a really quick mini tutorial that sort of reassures them that they're doing it right. So, from my book, How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can, I am going to quickly go through each of the techniques so you can see them in action and understand how to do them. The important thing to remember when using my techniques is keep them simple so you use them. Don't get caught up in doing them perfectly. Don't get caught up in doing them for hours a day. Please don't do that. I am the most impatient person in the world, and I would never want you to have to do techniques that cause you to need lots and lots of patience. So, even though you will get a sense of how to do these techniques in the most simple form, because that's what I'm trying to do is give you mini tutorials. Know that you can go deeper in the book, How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can. This is where you can find the full versions of all the techniques. I'm hoping that the mini tutorials help you to just get a feel for how they're done. So it gives you a deeper understanding and more confidence in doing them yourself. The first technique we're going to go over is called the sweep, like sweeping with a broom. Every time I say this, people come back with all kinds of funny things that they think I said. So this is like sweeping with a broom. And I created this technique to help us sweep out subconscious blocks, beliefs, and energy that are stuck in keeping us from moving forward in our health and happiness. It's a simple script that I wrote with very specific phrasing that reprograms our bodies, our brains, and our energy systems to let go of what no longer serves us and install a new and healthier belief or energy. There are two fill in the blanks in the sweep script. And the first fill in the blank is always filled in with the thing you want to release, the belief, the emotion, the energy, the pattern, the symptom, whatever it may be. And the last and second fill in the blank is the one that you install what you want to bring into your life, the new belief, the new feeling, the new emotion, the new pattern. You can see it here on page 176 of the book, How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can. If you have a different version of the book, it may not be on that page, but again, it's called The Sweep. I'm going to read it to you quickly. The way that you would do this for yourself is to read it slowly, intentionally, or to re-listen to this video and repeat after me. I'm going to go through it maybe a little bit faster, but if it feels too fast for you, then when you do it on your own, you can go ahead and read it to yourself or record it for yourself. Okay? I put my hand over my heart or my heart space, and you can do both. I'm holding the book, but you can do both. And close your eyes and take a deep breath and repeat after me. Even though I have this, and you'll fill in the blank with whatever you're trying to release, I acknowledge it's no longer working for me. I give my subconscious full permission to help me clear it from all of my cells in all of my body, permanently and completely. I am now free to thank it for serving me in the past, when maybe I really needed it for some reason. I am now free to release all resistances to letting it go. I am now free to release all ideas that I needed in order to stay safe. I am now free to release all ideas that I need it for any reason at all. I am now free to release all feelings that I don't deserve to let it go. I am now free to release all conscious and subconscious reasons for holding on to it. I am now free to release all conscious and subconscious causes for it. I am now free to release all harmful patterns, emotions, and memories connected to it. I am now free to release all generational or past life energies keeping it stuck. All of my being is healing and clearing this energy now, including any stress response still stored in my cells. Healing, healing, healing. Clearing, clearing, clearing. It is now time to install the new, and this can be a belief, an energy, whatever you want to install. You can just install ease and grace or healing, moving forward, whatever the belief is that you need to install, you insert there. Installing, installing, installing. Installing, installing, installing. And so it is done. And that's it. And I typically repeat that a few times for each thing I'm trying to release. You could go through that, say 2 or 3 times, see how you feel, or if you're able to muscle test or pendulum test to make sure you clear the energy completely, that's also helpful. That's the sweep. Easy. Let's talk about the Thymus Test and Tap technique. The Thymus Test and Tap technique from How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can is on page 130, around 130, but the chart that you need or the list that you need is on page 133. Okay? If you have a different version of the book, it may be on a different page, but it's called Thymus Test and Tap. Our thymus gland is about an inch below the notch of the neck where you would tie a bow tie. It's about here. You won't be able to feel it because it's behind your breastbone. But we use tapping on the thymus gland along with a very specific list of emotions in order to help clear that stuck energy from our system. The way that we identify the stuck emotions is either via muscle testing, pendulum testing, or what I consider an intuitive type of muscle testing, which is a finger swirl method, which is swirling our finger over the page to let intuitively ourselves be drawn to the correct emotion that the body wants to identify to release. Let me show you how it works. So here's the list, and even though you can't see the list, you'll be able to get what I'm trying to teach you. So basically, you can use this list to release emotions linked to trauma, emotions linked to a specific age, emotions linked to a specific symptom. I use it for everything. So you don't have to focus on a specific way of using it. You can use it in all kinds of different ways depending on what you need. But let's say that we want to release emotions for how we're feeling in the moment, which is a lot of the way that I use it. So we'd ask our bodies, can we find an emotion or help lead us to an emotion that's coming up for me right now? And what we're doing is looking to identify the emotion that's stuck in our body that's making us feel yucky so that we can tap on our thymus gland to release it. And the reason that this works is because the thymus gland is energetically connected to the rest of your energy system in your body. And the tapping helps create a force that moves through the thymus gland, through the energy system, and clears out the stuck emotion. So the force of the tapping, and it's not hard tapping, but the gentle force of the tapping is what works in combination with picking out the very specific emotions that are coming up in this moment, especially emotions that you don't realize are coming up, which is why we use the chart versus trying to figure out what we should release. So basically, you would just ask your body what's coming up, and you would swirl your finger around and intuitively wait until you're drawn to a certain section. So I sort of stopped my finger on impatient, which means that's the first emotion my body wants to release. And I would simply tap on my thymus gland 7 or more times to release impatient. You can say releasing, releasing, releasing. Let go, let go, let go. You could use either of those phrases, or you could simply hold your intention to release impatient. Tap on your thymus gland 7 or more times. Take a big deep breath, and then go back to the chart. Let me show you how we would use it if you were clearing a trauma that you've identified from age 14. You would just ask your body, you could do it in your head or ask out loud, can you help me find an emotion that's linked to age 14 that my body can release? And you would swirl your finger around. I consider this sort of a form of intuition or intuitive muscle testing. Muscle testing is a way that we use our body to help tap into the information that's in our subconscious mind. So I go ahead and I swirl. And then when I feel called to stop, I stop, and my finger is pointing to criticized. So that's telling me that I have something stuck from age 14 and that emotion is criticized. And I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to hold the intention of tapping that emotion of criticized from age 14 out of my body. Easy, right? Okay, let me show you one more. And basically, don't get too wrapped up. If your finger's between two of them, just pick one or do both of them. If you accidentally went off the page, start over. It's not you don't have to be perfect at this. You're basically wanting to relax enough to let your body be drawn to a certain emotion. And you want this emotion to be specific to something you're working on. So again, releasing a trauma from age 14, feeling anxiety right now, whatever the issue is. Let me show you how to use it for a symptom. So basically, what if I had a headache? I would say, or what if I was working on chronic migraines, releasing those? I would say, or I'd hold the intention of finding an emotion linked to my chronic migraines or chronic migraines. And I would swirl around the page. And whenever I just sort of feel called to stop, my finger is within the lines of blamed. So I would go ahead and tap to release blamed, which is actually funny. I don't have chronic migraines, but the emotion of blamed is often linked to migraines because people who have chronic migraines are often very, very hard on themselves and blame themselves for everything. So I got the right one for that. Basically, the important thing to know is there could be hundreds of emotions stuck in your body that you need to work through over time. That's fine. That's normal. I showed you one emotion for each thing, but what you would do is take a big deep breath, go back to the chart and say, can I find another emotion, or show me another emotion, or just hold the intention in your mind that you're going to be led to or guided to the next emotion that your body wants to release. I regularly release 10 to 20 at a time, and at a time means in a session for myself. You can do the same. If you're newer, I would go slower, maybe 5 to 10. If you've been doing my work longer, you can go to 20, no problem. There's also a chart on page 138 of this book, maybe on a different page, with positive emotions. I like at the end of each session to use Thymus Test and Tap to install positive emotions into my body to help integrate the healing process. Also, as much as we want to let go of all the yucky stuff in our body, it's really helpful for the body to have something to replace that with so that we don't feel like we're missing something. As you probably know from my work, there's a lot of emotions that we hang on to, or a lot of beliefs that we hang on to because in some way we feel like they keep us safe or we need them. So installing a few positive emotions at the end of each session is helpful for replacing those emotions that you let go of with something positive. And you do the same. You hold the intention on installing a positive emotion. You wait till you see where your finger goes. Mine is at empowered, and I'm going to install empowered. And this time I'm just holding the intention of installing the emotion and it going into my system through my energy system. Okay, that's it. All right, let's talk about EFT and chakra tapping. I have a longer tutorial on EFT, which I think is important to watch, especially if you're just beginning. But I want to just go through briefly how we tap and where we tap. There's two types of tapping that I teach in my book, How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can, and also in my other work. And one of them uses EFT or meridian tapping points, which are a certain part of the energy system. The other technique, chakra tapping, uses a different set of points, chakra points. And chakras and meridians are two different parts of the same energy system. Let me show you briefly how you use either of the tapping, either of the tapping techniques with different sets of points. It's the exact same process, okay? So you always start on the karate chop point, which is right here. And you always start with a setup statement that's very simple. Even though I have this, and you state whatever the problem is, even though I have this anxiety, even though I have these migraines, even though I have this pattern of getting depressed when somebody hurts my feelings, even though I have this um, crappy feeling in my body, I don't know what it's from, even though you just fill it in with whatever you're feeling that you're about to work on. The second part of the statement is, for me, I usually use the second part of the statement as I choose to let it go or I'm okay anyway. Okay? The typical EFT end of the statement is I love and accept myself completely. You've probably heard that. I never use it. It doesn't resonate with me. I choose to let it go or I can be okay anyway. So even though I have this, you fill in the blank with the thing you have, I choose to let it go. Or even though I have this, I can be okay anyway. And you just say it 3 times as you repetitively tap on your karate chop point. That's it. Okay. Everybody overcomplicates that. It's so easy. You just throw it out there. What are you dealing with? And make a statement about you being okay anyway or being willing to let it go. That's all you do for the karate chop point. Once you've done that 3 times, you're going to go to the rest of the tapping points. And as you go through the rest of the tapping points, what you are going to do is simply talk about or think about whatever's bothering you. You vent. I call this the venting process, as if you were complaining or telling me or a friend all the thoughts in your head. None of the thoughts have to connect with each other. It doesn't have to make sense. You don't even need to know what you're talking about. It doesn't need to be logical. I just want you to go through and tap on the points at the same time that you're venting about the problem. Now, let's quickly go over the 2 sets of points. The first one that we're going to go over are the EFT tapping points. The first point is on the top of the head. The next point is on the inside of the eyebrow. Next point is on the side of the eye, under the eye, top lip, indentation of the chin, under your collarbone on either side of your neck, side of the body, thumb, and you're tapping the lower right hand corner of each nail, pointer finger, middle finger, next finger, pinky finger, back to the karate chop point, and then you would just keep going. So I tap a few times, 5 to 7 times on each point. I say one phrase or one venting phrase per point, and you just keep tapping until you start to feel better or until you're out of time or patience and you come back to it, okay? Tapping isn't always an instant fix, although I do have a lot of people who feel better immediately. You'll need to tap for a while. Start with 5 to 10 minutes, see how you feel. Every few rounds, which means you've gone through all the points, you take a big deep breath, see how you feel, go back to it. There is no crazy specific way you have to do this. You start with the karate chop point. Even though I have this, state the problem, I choose to let it go, or I can be okay anyway. And then you do several rounds through the rest of the points, venting about all the things in your head. People often say to me, I don't know what to say. And I say, with all the thoughts in your head, all the narrative that constantly goes on, you now have no words, now have no thoughts. So really it's all about venting. I say my job is a lot of improv when I do tapping with people because it truly is improv. I just come up with whatever I feel is coming up, whatever I think of, doesn't matter. I don't try to analyze it. Okay, so now you know the basics for EFT. Chakra tapping is something that I sort of created or adapted during my own healing journey after using EFT and seeing sometimes I felt like I wasn't getting the shift I wanted. So then I started tapping on chakra tapping points, which is just a different part of the energy body. We start with the same, even though I have this problem, I choose to let it go. Now let me show you the other set of points, which are chakra tapping points. Top of the head, which is actually the same as an EFT point, in between the eyes, throat chakra, heart chakra. The next one is under, it's hard for you to see here, but under the sternum at the top of your abdomen. The next point is at your belly button. If I stand up, I'll knock my wire off. And the last point is on the top of your thighs, and you just tap like you're calling a little puppy up on your lap. Come on, come on. Or for that last chakra, you can do your lower back, your sacrum. And again, you just go through all the tapping points as you vent. You take a deep breath in between every few rounds and keep going. That is EFT and chakra tapping. Please, please, please promise me that you won't overcomplicate it, okay? You do the karate chop point, you do lots of rounds through the rest of the points, you say whatever comes up, super relaxed, super casual, you're just venting. Pretend you're talking to a friend on the phone. You'll think of all kinds of things to say, or you can pretend you're talking to me and just keep tapping. As soon as you're done with your tapping session, what you can do is just do one round through all the points, one last round, tapping on something positive. We never want to tap on the positive when we're tapping to try to release the energy, which is what you're doing when you're tapping and talking about all the quote unquote negative. You're essentially just bringing up how you feel so that you can tap and let it go at the same time. Some people worry that they're, going to tap it into their body. No, you could tap all day long. I'm terrified of kittens. I promise you'll never become terrified of kittens. We're bringing up what's already there and we're tapping to let it go. But on this last round, I will let you do some happy tapping, which is simply just tapping, I'm okay. I can be okay now. I can be okay now. I can let this go. Whatever happy tapping you want to do, whatever phrases you want to do is totally fine. I can be okay now. I can calm down. Just do some nice self talk for the last round. And you just need to do one round of just tapping in some positive things. It's basically just to end on a happy, positive note once you've cleared all that stuff. Okay? That's it. You've got it. We're ready to learn about alternate temple tapping. Now, alternate temple tapping is my newest technique. So you might have not, if you're watching this video, shortly after I recorded it, you probably haven't read about it anywhere because it's not in any books quite yet, but it's coming out soon. Alternate temple tapping is simply tapping alternately on each temple as you talk about or think about whatever stress or energy you want to release. Now, we use the karate chop point. It's very similar to EFT and chakra tapping in the way of using the karate chop point. So you start there with whatever you want to work on, even though I have this trauma that I remember from, age 30 where I got fired from my job in front of everybody. And then the second part of the sentence is the positive statement, either I choose to let it go or I can be okay anyway. If you're working on a symptom, even though I have so much energy or I have so many symptoms stuck in my gut, I choose to let them go. Whatever it is, you fill in the blank, the first fill in the blank of the sentence, even though I have this, just state the problem very casually. Don't take too much time to think about it. The second part of the statement is, I choose to let it go or I can be okay anyway. Okay, then you go on your temples and you tap alternately on each side. This is hitting the points, the meridian points for the triple warmer meridian, which governs your fight, flight, or freeze, your stress response. So, this is why tapping alternately really helps to let go of that trauma or energy while also calming the system that's probably creating a lot of symptoms for you. And you just do like what you do with EFT and chakra tapping, and you talk about or think about whatever's stressing you as you alternately tap on your temples to release it. I like to do 2 minutes at a time. So I would say it's 2 minutes per round. So you'll do this for 2 minutes, you'll stop, take a deep breath, see how you feel. If you want to do more tapping, you'll go back to it. That's it. This one's so simple. And again, like most of my techniques, they're so simple. People overcomplicate them. So you start on the karate chop point and then you just move to the temple tapping. And you want to make sure that you're not tapping furiously like this because that might stress you out. Just get a nice rhythm that feels calming to you. And again, you're just tapping right here at the temples. All right?